Good morning, student. So in our today's lecture we will see how to measure the fundamental physical quantities like length, mass and that of time. For measuring any physical quantity it requires a unit, and you know very well, as far as length is concerned, the physical quantity length, which is nothing but the distance. What is the SI unit of length? SI unit of length is meter. SI unit of length is meter, and as far as this SI unit of length is concerned, in 1960, in the year 1960, that 1 meter length is defined, and as far as length of 1 meter is concerned, in 1960 it was accepted internationally that from the atom of krypton, it will emit the light of red orange color, and the wavelength of red orange color light emitted by krypton atom is equal to 1 meter. What is 1 meter? 1 meter is nothing but the wavelength of red orange color light emitted by atom of krypton is called 1 meter. What is the wavelength? If I just draw a wave, light wave, the distance of separation between two consecutive crusts or two consecutive trough is called wavelength. So, as per international convention in 1960, SI unit of length is meter, and 1 meter is equal to wavelength of red orange light emitted by atom of krypton. 1 meter is equal to what? Wavelength of red orange color light emitted by atom of krypton. Emitted by what? Atom of krypton. Now this definition will be useful till 1983. Up to 1983, there is no change in the definition of SI unit of length, that is 1 meter. That 1 meter is equal to wavelength of red orange color light wave emitted by what? The atom of krypton. But after 23 years, that is in 1983, what happens in 1983? The speed of light in vacuum is measured accurately, and the speed of light in vacuum, it is found to be equal to speed of light in vacuum is equal to 299,792,458. 299,752,458 meter per second. 299,792,458. So remember, speed of light in vacuum, it was measured very first time in 1983 accurately, and that speed of light in vacuum is found to be 299,792,458 meter per second. So once the speed of light in vacuum is known to us, the SI unit of length, that is meter, is precisely redefined. Precisely means more accurately redefined. So in 1983, SI unit of length meter. It is defined as 1 meter is equal to the length of path covered by a beam of light in a time of t equal to 1 upon 299,792,458 second. In such a small interval of time, means it is a fraction of second. 1 second divided by 299,792,458 second. The path length covered by a beam of light in a time of 1 upon 299,792,458 second is called 1 meter. Means at time t equal to 0, if the beam of light starts its journey from point A, after a time interval of t equal to 1 upon 299,792,458, after such short duration of time, that beam of light may reaches point B in vacuum. So, AB represent the path length covered by beam of light in a time of 1 upon 299,792,458 in a vacuum. The path length covered by beam of light in a time of 1 upon 299,792,458 second in a vacuum is called as, or it is defined as 1 meter. It is defined as what? 1 meter. So, SI unit of length, it is meter. It was first defined internationally in 1960, and later on, after 28 years after the measurement of speed of light in vacuum, it was precisely redefined in this manner. Now, this is about what is the SI unit of length. Now, once you are having a unit for measurement of some physical quantity, you can apply it for measurement of large distances also. Now, as far as large distances are concerned, when we want to measure the distance of a planet or a star or some astronomical object or some heavenly bodies from the surface of Earth, we know that we cannot measure such a large distance with the help of a meter scale. So, some scientific method is there. Whenever we have to measure such large distances, out of so many scientific method, one of the method, it is what? A parallax method. Parallax method is used to determine large distances, normally distances of heavenly bodies or astronomical object from the surface of Earth. So, to know what is parallax, what is the effect, parallax effect, let us perform some simple experiment. Hold your hand in front of you like this. Hold the hand in front of you. I will hold my hand in front of me, and let us observe that hand by closing your left eye, and then observe your hand by closing your right eye. See here, while observing the hand by closing left eye or by closing what? Right eye, actually the position of hand is not changing. We know that hand is stationary at its original place. But what we will observe, that there is a change in, there is what? There is a change in position of our hand, means that hand appears to move against the background. That hand appears to move against the background. This effect is known as a parallax effect. What is parallax effect? That when hand is held in front of you And if you observe your hand by closing your left eye and then by closing your right eye, you will find that your hand appears to move against the background. This effect is known as a parallax effect. So as far as parallax is concerned, whenever there is apparent change in position of an object, my object is hand, there is apparent change in position of object. It is not actual. Apparent means virtual. We feel it. We feel it. So the apparent change in position of object, the apparent change, the apparent change in position of object due to change in observer, due to what? Change in observer. The apparent change in position of object due to change in observer is called parallax. Is called parallax. Is called parallax. So what is a parallax? Apparent change in position of object due to change in position of observer. Remember, due to what? Due to change in position of observer is called parallax. Apparent change in position of object due to change in position of observer is called a parallax. Now see here, already I had drawn some diagram here where P represent the object which is at very large distance from us. O is the observer and object P is lying at a large distance from it. Then how to measure such a large distance? By using parallax method. So what we will do here, E1 and E2, they are actually representing our left eye and that of a right eye. E1, E2 are the eyes of an observer O, and you want to measure this distance OP, that is distance of object P from the observer. And this distance OP is very, very large as compared to that of distance between our two eyes. So see here, as already we had performed the experiment, here you observe the object by closing your left eye and then observe the object by closing your what? Right eye. And see here, what theta represent? Theta is the angle between two different directions. Theta is angle between the two different directions through which that object is observed from the two eyes. And that angle theta, angle E1 PE2 is equal to theta. That angle theta, it is known as parallax angle. Angle theta is known as what? Parallax angle. Theta is known as parallax angle. Again you measure the distance between two eyes with the help of meter scale. You can very easily measure the distance between two eyes, and that distance between two eyes, it is measured to be E1 E2. E1 E2. You know this parallax angle theta. You know the distance between the two eyes E1 and that of E2. Remember here, as far as this distance OP is concerned, that is distance of object P from the observer, this OP is very, very large as compared to that of distance between the two eyes of a person. this distance is few kilometer, whereas distance between the two eyes few centimeter. So as distance OP is much larger than that of distance between the two eyes, this situation, see here, it is similar to that of a situation like this. See here, suppose that object P is at the center of a circle of radius OP. We are interested in measuring this distance OP. We want to find out what? We want to measure large distance. So that's why we had considered an object at large distance OP. So OP we want to measure. As far as the two eyes are here, observer is lying. The two eyes of observer, they are on the two sides. E1 and that of what? E2. And if I join this E1 and that of E2, E1, E2, here it seems to be what? A straight line path. But actually, this distance E1, E2 is so small, so that you can treat it as the arc. You can treat it as what? An arc of a circle of very large radius OP. What is the radius of circle? OP. Means PE1 equal to PE2 equal to OP, equal to radius of circle. So see here, theta represent angle, and you know, because already you had studied in 10th standard, if the length of arc S is known to you, radius of circle is known to you, and angle theta is known to you, how you will interrelate S, R and that of theta? That length OP or radius R, S is equal to R theta. R is equal to S divided by theta. Here S represent length of arc, which is actually the distance of separation between the two eyes E1, E2 upon that parallax angle theta. Because E1, E2, this distance is very, very small as compared to that of OP. So therefore angle theta is very, very short. And by using this formula, here R will represent radius. It is nothing but distance OP. Therefore, OP is equal to, finally, that the distance of an object which is at a very large distance from us, OP, is equal to distance between the two eyes of observer divided by parallax angle theta. So by using the technique of parallax method, one can measure object at large distances. One can measure that large distance. But remember, when we want to measure the distance of a star or a planet from the surface of Earth, this parallax method, means two eyes method, is not useful. To measure the distance of a planet or a star, which is very, very large distance from the Earth, two eyes method is not useful. Instead of that, we will adopt some another method in which we will observe that star simultaneously. The two separate observer, they were used to observe that star simultaneously, and remember, the position of two observers on the surface of Earth is such that they are far away from each other. Look at this. So, in order to measure the distance of star or distance of a planet from the Earth, see here, I have shown this circle will represent our planet Earth. And here is a star whose distance capital D from the Earth to be measured. What capital D is? D represent distance of what? Star from our planet Earth, distance of star from Earth. To measure this distance, capital D, here we are having the two positions A and B. A and B are the two positions which are at a straight line distance of small b on the surface of Earth. A and B are the two different positions on the surface of Earth. And what is the straight line distance between point position A and B? It is B, where the two observers were lying. So there are two observers, one at position A and other at position B. And what is the distance of separation between them? They are separated by a straight line distance equal to B. And both the observer, they were observing the star simultaneously. The two observer at the two different position observing the star, position of star simultaneously. They were observing the star, position of star simultaneously. Now see here, angle ASB, measure this angle AS and that of B. What is this angle ASB? It is the angle between two directions. Angle between the two directions from which or through which that star is viewed. The angle between the two directions from which the star is viewed from the two positions on the Earth. That angle is known as parallax angle. That angle is known as what? Parallax angle. Now see here, as far as our planet Earth is concerned, A and B, they might be diametrically opposite point. So what this distance is? 6400 kilometer. This distance is 6400 kilometer. Hardly this is a distance AB, straight line distance AB. It may be what? 13,000 kilometer. But as compared to that of straight line distance small b between the two positions A and B, distance of that star from the Earth is very large, means capital D, it is very large as compared to that of what? The straight line distance between the two positions of the observer on the surface of the Earth. What we had assumed, AB is a straight line distance. AB, it is a straight line path, straight line distance, and whose value is equal to what? B. But as B is very small as compared to that of capital D, that is distance of star from the Earth. So this situation is, again, see here. Suppose here we are having a star S, and here this is position B and this is position A. We had considered that this distance B is a straight line distance, but because this B is very small as compared to that of distance capital D, so what you can say, this straight line path AB is actually small arc of length B of a circle whose radius is very large, that is D. And what theta here is? Theta represent the parallax angle. Again you apply the same S, R and theta. S, R, here this is S, means arc length. S is equal to R theta, or R is equal to S divided by theta. See here, R means Radius, what radius is? It is the distance of star from the earth, equal to S. S means actually it is length of arc. S is nothing but what? Arc length. Arc length. What is arc length here? Arc length is length of arc AB equal to B. So that is B divided by parallax angle is theta. So by using this relation D equal to B upon theta, by using the relation D equal to B upon theta, one can measure the distance of any star or planet from the surface of Earth. See here, you know what is the distance between the two position of two observer B, that you can measure it very easily. Angle theta is known to you, that is parallax angle is known to you, means ultimately you can determine the distance of any star or planet from the surface of the earth. In the similar manner, we will see how to measure the distance of star. Now we will see that how to measure further larger distance, that is distance of a star like sun or some other star. Before that, here we will first define some terms. What do you mean by one astronomical unit? One astronomical unit. It is the distance of separation between center of sun and center of earth. Distance of separation between the center of sun and center of earth is one astronomical unit, and it is always equal to, one astronomical unit is equal to 1.496 into 10 to the power 11 meter. While solving the example, you have to make use of one astronomical unit is 1.496 into 10 to the power 11 meter. Then also you know what is 1 light year? It is the distance that beam of light will cover in a time of 1 year. Distance covered by ray of light in 1 year is called 1 light year, and if you measure that distance is found to be 9.46 into 10 to the power 15 meter. 9.46 into 10 to the power 15 meter. Now here one more concept, parsec. What is parsec? Parsec here, see here, I had shown a sun and that of earth. Their centers are separated by a distance of 1 angstrom unit, and this circle will represent the circular orbit of earth around the sun. In order to define that distance 1 parsec, it is actually the distance that 1 angstrom unit subtends, distance that 1 angstrom unit subtends an angle of 1 second per arc. 1 parsec is the distance at which this 1 angstrom unit subtends an angle of 1 second. See here, 1, and when I have 2 asterisk marks, 2 marks, that is 2 dash, it means it is 1 second. So the distance at which 1 angstrom unit subtends an angle of 1 second per arc. 1 second per arc is called 1 parsec, and 1 parsec is 3.08 into 10 to the power 16 meter or 3.26 light year. Here we are interested in measuring the distance of sun or distance of some other close star. We know that sun is the closest star, nearest to the earth. What is the distance of sun in terms of kilometer? See here, the distance of sun from the earth, average distance is 149,597,870 kilometer, or in terms of light year, you can express it as 1.5692 into 10 to the power minus 5 light year. sun is at such a long distance from the planet Earth. Or the next planet, next star close to the Earth, it is at what distance from the Earth? 4.29 light year, means it is 4.29 into what? 9.46 into 10 to the power 15 meter. It is at such a long distance from the Earth. And to measure the distance of these star like sun or this closest star, if we use parallax method. So what we will do in parallax method? That if we measure the parallax, see here I have shown the planet Earth, and A and B are the two distance point. A and B are the two distance point on the Earth. If parallax is measured by the two distance point on the Earth, that parallax is very, very small for that star. If parallax is measured by using the two distance point on the Earth, that parallax is too small, very, very short, very, very small. So that method is not correct to determine the distance of the star. So instead of that, parallax is measured from the two farthest point. Suppose this is point A and this is point B. These are the two farthest point. Actually, the two farthest point, they are separated by what distance here? This radius is 1 angstrom unit. This circle will represent the circular orbit of Earth around the Sun. So A and B are the two points which are diametrically opposite, means if this distance is 1 angstrom unit, this distance is also what? 1 angstrom unit. So if parallax is measured with two farthest point which are 2 angstrom unit apart, and they were lying on diametrically opposite points of a circular orbit of Earth round the Sun, then only you can measure that parallax correctly, or you can measure the distance of star from the Earth in a correct, or you can have a correct value. Up till now, we had measured the distance of planet, maybe star, from the Sun, which is very large distance. Now we will see, once we know how to measure the distance of a planet or a sun or a star from the Earth. Now, how we can measure the size of either a planet or a star, that we will see. Method is quite simple. Suppose we are having a planet spherical in shape, and let small d represent the diameter of a planet. D is diameter of a planet, and which we want to measure. Let that planet, it will subtend an angle at any one point on the surface of Earth. The angle subtended by planet at any one point on the surface of Earth, it is called as angular diameter. The angle subtended by a planet at any one point on the surface of Earth is called as what? Angular diameter of that planet. Let here alpha is what? It is the angle made by two direction. Angle made by two direction, along which the two diametrically opposite points of the planets, they are viewed through a telescope on the surface of Earth. Alpha is the angle between two directions through which the two diametrically opposite points A and B of the planet, they are viewed through what? Through the telescope at the same, from the same point on the Earth. That angle is alpha. That angle is what? Angle alpha. Remember here, capital D will represent what that capital D is. Capital D, it will represent the distance of planet from Earth. Remember, this distance of planet from Earth is already measured. Means if you know at what distance that planet is lying from the Earth, then only you can measure what is the size of that planet, what is the diameter of that planet, what is the radius of that planet. So D is already known to you. Alpha represents the angular diameter that planet will subtend at any point on the Earth. Now you know the relationship from the knowledge of circle. If S is the length of arc, R is the radius, and if this angle is theta, then you know S is equal to R theta. You are interested in finding what? You are interested in finding the value of what? In finding the value of length of arc. Here, because this distance capital D is very large as compared to that of size of diameter. So even though this diameter D, it seems to be a straight line distance, but it is actually what? It is actually the arc length. It is actually what? Arc length. So by using relation S is equal to R theta here, what happens? S means length of arc. AB represents what? Arc length. Arc length is equal to radius multiplied by that angle. So arc length means it is small d is equal to what is radius? It is actually the distance of planet from the Earth multiplied by this angle alpha, which is the angular diameter of a planet. So by using this relation D equal to D into alpha, you can measure the size of planet or size of a star. Now remember, we had measured at what distance that sun is lying, that particular star is lying, what is the size of planet, means we had measured the distances of heavenly bodies from our planet Earth. But whenever I have to measure the size of atom or size of what? Molecule, then parallax method is not useful. To measure the size of atom, here the next one is measurement of size of an atom. So how to measure the size of atom or size of molecule? For measurement of size of atom or size of molecule, electron microscope or tunneling electron microscopes are useful. By using these devices, that is electron microscope or tunneling electron microscope, you can measure the size of what? Size of atom or size of molecule. Now the second most commonly used fundamental physical quantity, it is mass. Every now and then we are in need of measurement of mass. What is SI unit of mass? SI unit of mass is kilogram. SI unit of mass, it is what? Kilogram. And as far as the value of 1 kilogram means, what is the measure of 1 kilogram? See here, since from 1889 to 19th of May 2019, I will check the date. Since from, it is up to 20th of May. 20th of May 2019, means recently, 1 year before. So, since from 1889 to 20th of May 2019, in the International Bureau in the International Bureau of what? Weights and Measure. International Bureau of Weights and Measures. In a safe glass piece. In a safe glass box. A shiny piece of alloy of platinum and iridium was kept, and that is treated as 1 gram. Since from 1889 up to 20th of May 2019, recently. In the International Bureau of Weights and Measure, there was a safe glass box in which a shiny piece of alloy of platinum and iridium was kept, and was taken as 1 kilogram mass. It is a standard 1 kg mass. But it is observed that piece of alloy of platinum and iridium will pick some microparticle, some dirt particle, as well as atmosphere will also causes the changes in the mass of that shiny piece. So that's why that 1 kilogram mass is redefined. Now that 1 kilogram mass is defined in terms of an electric current. Why it becomes essential or why it becomes necessary to redefine the SI unit of mass, that is kilogram? Because that shiny piece of alloy of platinum and iridium, it will pick some microparticle from the atmosphere. Some dirt particle will also get attached to it, as a result of which mass of that shiny piece will goes on changing. So that's why kilogram is redefined on 20th May 2000 and that of 19. And that 1 kilogram mass, now it is defined in terms of electric current. We know that as far as electromagnets are concerned, what are electromagnets? Over a soft iron core, we are having what? Large number of turns of copper wire. And when electric current flows through, here we are having a strong magnet. Normally, horseshoe type of magnets are used. And here we are having the coils which were wound on that horseshoe type of magnet. So when current flows through an electromagnet, it will produces magnetic field to its surrounding. And what is the function of this magnetic field? Magnetic field will attract the magnetic material towards it. Suppose here we are having extremely sensitive balance. Extremely sensitive balance is with us. And in one side, on one side of extremely sensitive balance, here suppose we will put 1 kg standard mass. Then the other side, it gets lifted up. Now here, if I just bring an electromagnet, suppose here we are having an electromagnet. What electromagnet will do? When current is passed through that electromagnet, it produces a magnetic field, and that magnetic field will attract this end of a balance and it starts moving in downward direction. So as current flowing through electromagnet goes on, increases, this end of extremely sensitive balance, it will come down and down. Remember, for certain current which when flows through an electromagnet, the two sides of extremely sensitive balance, they get balanced. So remember, when I wish to define 1 kilogram mass, it is the amount of electric current which when flows through an electromagnet will pull the end of weight balance so as to balance when on the other end of a weight balance 1 kilogram of standard mass is kept. Means whatever amount of electric current is required to pull down the one end of extremely sensitive balance so as to balance that weight, provided at the other end we are having a standard 1 kilogram mass is fixed on the other end. So the current required is nothing but the amount of 1 kilogram of a mass. Amount of 1 kilogram of a mass. So now you can have the exact definition. 1 kilogram mass is equal to the amount of electric current which will pass through an electromagnet will pull down the one end of extremely sensitive balance so as to balance the other end of a balance which will hold a standard 1 kilogram of mass. Remember here, whenever we have to talk about mass of an atom, then the unit of kilogram is useless. You cannot express the mass of atom in terms of gram or in terms of what? Kilogram. So whenever we have to describe the mass of an atom, it must be described in terms of atomic mass unit. Atomic mass unit. What is atomic mass unit? One atomic mass unit, it is 1 by 12 times mass of unexcited carbon 12 atom. One atomic mass unit is equal to 1/12 of mass of an unexcited carbon 12 atom, and its value is 1.6605,402 into 10 to the power, I think it is minus 27 kilogram. 10 to the power minus 27 kilogram. Now the last one, how to measure the time. Now time is one more fundamental physical quantity. And what is the SI unit of time? Time is measured in the unit of second. Then what is 1 second? Now as far as the measurement of 1 second is concerned, the reference is mean solar day. What is 1 mean solar day? 1 mean solar day, it is actually what? The time interval between one noon and a next noon. Measurement of SI unit of time is second, and as far as the measurement of 1 second is concerned, the main reference is of mean solar day, and 1 mean solar day, it is the time interval between one noon and the next noon. And that distance between, or the time interval between one noon and next noon, it is found to be equal to 24 hours. So, one mean solar day equal to 24 hours, and we know that 24 hours means 24 into 60 minutes. It means it is 24 into 60 seconds or 86400 seconds. So, one mean solar day equal to 86400 seconds. So, from this, 1 second is defined as 1 upon 86400 mean solar day. Mean solar day. Remember, up till now there is no problem in the measurement of second, because as far as our planet Earth is concerned, it is rotating about its own axis with a uniform angular velocity. But nowadays it is observed that Earth is slowing down. Rotation of Earth about its axis is what? Slowing down, due to which there occurs a variation in what? The value of mean solar day. Due to slowing down of Earth during its rotation about its own axis, as there occurs a variation in mean solar day, that's why it becomes essential to redefine the unit of time, that is second, and it can now be defined with the help of cesium atomic clock. In cesium atomic clock, the time taken by or the time required for, see here, 9,192,631,770. This much number of vibrations of radiation or the waves, when they are emitted during the transition between what? The hyperfine state of cesium-133 atom, it is defined as 1 second. 1 second is the time required for 9,192,631,770 vibrations of the radiations or the wave emitted during the transition between the hyperfine state of cesium-133 atom. It is defined as 1 second. So this is all about the measurement of units of fundamental physical quantities, the length, mass, and that of time.